because picture's worth, what, 1,000 words, particularly when we're talking about visibility in the air. Here's the results with SNCR. Here's the results. Here's the results with SCR. Here's the results with SNCR. The point is you can't tell any difference. There's no discernible difference. And it's a cosmetic standard, not a health standard. But when we talk about cost, there's a big difference. Cost $700 million to implement the SCR, which EPA is saying we have to have, versus $50 million if we use SNCR. Well, so what does that mean? That means hundreds of millions of dollars of cost to businesses, to farms, to families, to the people in North Dakota. Hundreds of millions of dollars of cost. And that's the issue, and that's why it needs to be addressed. So we'll be testifying this morning saying, look, the state's doing a good job. EPA, one size does not fit all. The state of North Dakota is doing it right. They're getting the results. They're making sure we meet the standard. Matter of fact, we're meeting the standard better than other places. And the state needs to continue to have primary responsibility to regulate regional haze. And in addition, that is exactly why I'm introducing legislation, because it's about common sense. The Empower States Act is about common sense. One size does not fit all. So the states should take the lead role, and where they're doing a good job, they should be able to continue to take the lead role, just like we're doing here in North Dakota. It means that you have both an environmental test and an economic test, and if you meet both those tests, just like North Dakota does, then the states continue to have the primary regulatory responsibility, and that's the way we should be doing business. It's not only about making sure we do a good job on air quality, on visibility, that we get it right, it's also using common sense. One size does not fit all. The states need to take a lead. North Dakota is doing just that, and they're doing a good job.
We have just completed, or in the process of completing, an investment of $410 million on SO2 scrubbers at the Leland Oil Station. And now we're being challenged by adding another almost $300 million to that to meet this rule that's being set forth by EPA. As we look at this, this is an extreme challenge for us, because we have to understand, as per our members that hold us accountable to make good decisions, this decision's a tough one for us, because we cannot, through our technology developments, our engineering work, and our tests, cannot find how this technology will truly work on the Leland Oil Station.
We just went through this year 34% increase in our rates to pay for $425 million worth of environmental improvements. And so to turn around and in the same year have EPA come in and suggest that we should put a technology on that we don't think works to start with, that we are concerned about whether or not we'll ever even be able to pay for it across the process for what could be another additional $500 million and a 30% increase to our cost, we think has gone too far.
At Coteau Properties, we mine about 15 million tons of coal a year, lignite coal, for Basin Electric's Antelope Valley Station, Leland Old Station, and Dakota Gasification's Great Plains Synfuels plant. At Falkirk, we mine about 8 million tons a year for Great River Energy's Coal Creek Station. Now, these two operations are the two largest lignite mines in North Dakota, and they comprise about 23 million tons of the coal that's mined a year out of about 30 million in this state. Our customers at Basin, Great River Energy, and the other utilities in the state have already invested a huge amount of money in overfired air, low NOx burners, and other technology, selective non-catalytic reduction, to improve the emissions in the state. We think it's a little overreaching of the EPA to now ask these utilities to spend additional money on technology that would not help the health of standards in the state. The state already meets all the national ambient air quality standards.
Great River Energy, we've spent $270 million on an innovative dry finding system that reduces oxides of nitrogen by 20%, it reduces sulfur by 40%, and mercury by 40%. And the Environmental Protection Agency wants us to do even more for a benefit that won't even be perceptible. And it's not a health-based benefit. I just don't understand it.
What's at stake here is 40% of the lignite industry. And 40% of the lignite industry has being asked to spend another $700 million. We've already spent $1.2 billion in environmental controls in the various plants in the state of North Dakota. But 40% of the industry is being jeopardized by this action by EPA. And it's a matter of whether or not you're going to burn coal. That's what's at stake here. It's very important that we not add another $700 million on the $700 million that's already been spent, plus the $1.2 billion that was spent initially when these plants were built.
In this particular case, Congress was very clear that the federal government should identify which standards should be implemented across the nation. But they were also very clear that the state should make that primary determination how those standards should be implemented at the local level. The state, in this particular case, the debate with EPA isn't about no controls. It's about significant controls that can get visible improvement in the environment. EPA would like us to go farther than significant controls, to put in a control that is questionable, that even vendors, people who do this for a living, will not guarantee that this technology that EPA proposes will work. As a state regulatory agency, we have to make sure that not only is that technology applicable, that it can be applied at the local level, that it will see significant environmental gains, but we also have to look at the economic impacts. The state took over 4 years to evaluate all those conditions, went through 3 public hearings, and came up with a well-reasoned, defensible position. So the issue is about environmental improvement, and we are going to get that with this state plan. And the state will continue to move forward, working with everybody in the state to find other means to get cost-effective, common-sense environmental control, and that's what we're all about.